Hare Krishna Prabhujis and Matajis, thank you for joining. We are in the Bhagavad Gita summary study program. We completed 12 chapters. We have to start chapter 13 today. We'll get started. I hope everyone had a nice weekend. And is everyone taking the quizzes? If not, please start because we only have 6 classes left. The sooner you can complete the quizzes and send it, you will be able to get the certificate.
Excuse me?
Yeah. What is
I
it?
don't know what type of quizzes.
You're Kartikeya, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so ask your dad. There is in WhatsApp, we shared a link, and there you have all the quizzes. It's in Google Forms. Maybe Prabhu, can you help see the questions?
Sure, I'll share it with him.
Yeah, it's in the WhatsApp description. It linked to the page.
Sure.
There you have the quizzes.
Sure. Thanks.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, it says there are only 6 quizzes. Okay, let me check. There should be more. I will check and get back. If there are missing, I will add more. Okay, so we are in the Gita Gyan. We are discussing about the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is also a essence of all the Vedic scriptures. And like I was mentioning in every class, this is going to be a high-level summary. And especially now, in the next 6 classes, we are going to deal with a very philosophical subject matter, which goes into detail about a lot of things. So if we can, for sure, these 6 chapters we cannot complete easily. Means if we go into every detail, we cannot complete them in few days. So this is going to be like a very high-level summary, which we are going to cover very important points. Yeah, before we discuss about any spiritual topics, we'll say a few prayers. You can all see the screen. Please say along with me, so we'll all say it together. You can unmute. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So we are dedicating this program to ISKCON founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And we are inspired to do this program so that the Bhagavad Gita knowledge and all the things that are described in Bhagavad Gita will reach everybody who have not been able to come in contact with Bhagavad Gita or who did not get a chance to read it by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. He is a senior member in ISKCON and he is also a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. We have been doing this program by reading about the glories of Bhagavad Gita, Gita Mahatmya. We'll read one more glory. You can say after me, Gita yasya na janati
गीता यस्य न जानाति
patanam naiva patanam
पतनं नैव पातनं
sa eva manushe loke
स एव मानुषे लोके
moga karma karo bhavet.
मोघकर्म करो भवेत्.
Can someone read the translation?
A person who knows nothing about learning and teaching is a failure in the duty of the human form of life.
So we should at least learn or teach Bhagavad Gita. If we don't do that, we are basically not passing the 10th grade we discussed, right? We got this human form of life, we got a promotion, and we are all in this highest evolution in the living forms in this world. And if we don't use that opportunity, then we are kind of failing in that. So we should all use this opportunity to read and preach and teach Bhagavad Gita. So we'll do a quick recap of the chapter 12. Anyone knows the name of the chapter 12?
Devotional services.
Devotional service, Hari Bol. So first, Arjuna is asking Krishna, tell me clearly, which do you think is more perfect? Engaging in the devotional service of the impersonal Brahman or engaging in your devotional service? Means engaging in the impersonal unmanifested form or engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord in the personal form. Krishna is saying, those who fix the mind on my personal form are always and are always engaged in me or more or the most perfect. Why is he saying that? Because for those whose mind is attached to the unmanifest, the impersonal Brahman, advancement is very troublesome. Because we did a few exercises in the previous classes, right? If you tell your mind, don't think of something, it will always think of that only. But instead, if you tell your mind, if you focus your mind on something else, your mind stops thinking of the things that you don't want to think. And that's why it is very difficult for an embodied soul to focus on the impersonal nature of the Supreme Lord. On the other hand, if we focus on the personal form of the Lord, whichever we are most attracted to or most related to, then as we keep worshipping Him, Krishna is promising that He Himself will come and deliver us. We don't have to worry about it. Is not our endeavor anymore. We are just doing worshipping the Supreme Lord, and He takes the responsibility of delivering us from this material ocean or the vast ocean of life and life after life, the life and death. And then Krishna goes on to explain, like, okay, in order for you to do that, for me to come and deliver you, do the Ananya Bhakti, means always think of me, and you will be able to come to me very soon. But if you cannot do that, at least do the Bhakti Yoga process, which is follow the regulative principles. If you cannot do that, then at least do the Krishna Karma or the Nishkama Karma Yoga, means we discussed, right? There is work and there is reactions or results of the work. So Nishkama Karma Yoga means you don't have attachment to the results or you don't have attachment to the work also. So just work for Krishna only, or even whatever work you are doing, don't do it for the Supreme Lord. Yajna means for Vishnu. Okay, if you cannot do that also, then do Sakama Karma, means forget about the results, just offer the results to me. But if you are interested in doing any work, do that work whichever is interests you. Like if you want to be a lawyer, scientist, a musician, singer, go ahead and do that if you are attached to that work. But offer the results to me, means any results that you get, give to me. And if you cannot do that, then at least sit and do meditation, or at least engage in the pursuit of knowledge. So essentially, what he's saying is, run towards me. If you cannot run, at least walk towards me. If you cannot walk, at least try to crawl towards me. But don't sit there in the lap of Maya and then sleep there. And once you start running towards Krishna, very soon we'll be able to fly towards the supreme destination, to Radha and Krishna. And finally, he's concluding the chapter by saying that who is Athiva Priya, means very, very dear. someone who worships the Supreme Lord with Shraddha means with faith. If someone who has full faith in the Supreme Lord, then um, Krishna is saying that he is very dear. If someone is very dear, even in our current life, we always think of them. So Supreme Lord, if we are dear to him, he will also be keep thinking of us only as we are thinking of him, and he will always be thinking, how can I help this person, because he is just surrendered onto me, he is relying on me. So that's why he's saying the previous chapters we read, right? Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. I'm going to take care of him. I'm going to preserve what he or she has, and I'm going to provide what he or she lacks. So we'll now come to chapter 13, which is nature, the enjoyer, and consciousness. And this is actually the section 3 of Gnana Yoga. We have, what are the 3 sections in Bhagavad Gita? Anyone remembers?
Bhakti Yoga, Kama Yoga, Jnana Yoga.
Very nice. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Gnana Yoga, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we completed Karma Yoga, first 6 chapters, and in the next middle 6 chapters, we discussed about Bhakti Yoga, and in the now comes the third section, which is Gnana Yoga. Gnana means knowledge. So these sections it goes into more detail. But okay, we discussed about the living entity, that we are not the body. We discussed about why we come into this world, and because we wanted to enjoy independently of the Supreme Lord, and how we can go back to the Supreme Lord by engaging in devotional service. We discussed also the Guhyam, Guhyatamam, Guhyataram, and Guhyatamam. The confidential, more confidential, most confidential also. Most confidential is just giving up everything and just relying on Krishna, and he'll come and deliver us. If we read all those things, isn't Bhagavad Gita complete with chapter 12? Why do we have these additional 6 chapters about knowledge? There are multiple reasons, which is faith is good to start, but the faith has to get converted to conviction. We are in this material world and we come across so many situations where our faith will be questioned. But if we have strong knowledge, then it's not going to be a blind faith. Our faith that we put in the Supreme Lord will, with the knowledge, the transcendental knowledge, he will make us more convinced about our path, and we will be more determined to achieve the goal. And other reasons are like we come across in this material world different kinds of people of different kinds of walks of life or religions, and they will question our faith. If we don't have an answer to them, how can we convince them? Let's say if even if they are not willing to convince, but let's say if there are people who are like inquisitive and they come to you, uh, and if you are not able to answer the questions that they have, then they might stay away from Bhagavad Gita or not uh, turn towards Krishna. So besides our practice, we should also be able to preach. For that, we need knowledge. Let's see what are the questions that we have so far able to answer, or even that we keep frequently thinking about when before reading Bhagavad Gita, or before coming into this coming in touch. So we always think, who am I, right? So, and that is what Atato Brahma Jignasa means, that Vedanta Sutra says the first aphorism is, we have to all ask, who am I? Um, and if we don't ask that question, then it means that we are not fulfilling um, the reason we got the human form of life. And that is what we discussed, right? There are 4 things that are common between animals and humans: eating, sleeping, mating, and depending. But one thing the animals cannot ask is, who am I? And that question humans can ask. Once they ask the question and they start exploring that, then they will be able to make progress in their self-realization. And why am I suffering? What is the right thing to do in a given situation? Which is same question Arjuna had. Is there a solution to all my problems? Who can help me solve my problems? Why is everyone fighting in this world? How can we achieve peace? Krishna gave the peace formula in chapter 5. How can I control the mind? In chapter 6, there are different ways we can control the mind. Why and how to approach God. And the reason why is the more confidential knowledge. Um, if we want to get away from this material world, the only way to is to approach the Supreme Lord. And how can I know about the greatness of the Lord? Means Krishna gave the list of all glories of the Supreme Lord of Himself. And then what does God want me to do? Arjuna is also asking, and Krishna says, Nimitta matram bhava savyasachi means find out what is your inherent talent and do offer it to me, and you will become glorious. Whom does God like the most? We just read. God Himself said that who is very dear to Him, someone who worships Him with utmost faith. And how can I love God? We discussed, right? Ananya Bhakti, the process of Ananya Bhakti. These are some of the questions, but let's see, there are some more questions that generally come up. What is this material world made up of? Some say it's Big Bang, it has all these elements, but what does it really uh, have in it? And we'll also be questioned when we talk to people with other religions, is karma real? How does it work? We should be able to explain. Because one thing that some religions fall short in explaining is why not everyone is born equally. And then we, on the other hand, if we are also not able to answer, then what is the point of following such a advanced eternal dharma, Sanatan dharma? What happens to someone after they die? There are so many theories saying that we say rest in peace means the soul, let it be sitting in the soul until the judgment day, and then the soul will be judged. No, those are all like the soul is always active. It cannot rest in one place. It has to seek out activity. So, and that's why it takes body after body, life after life. And we can break the cycle by engaging it in the topmost activity, which is the service of the Supreme Lord. Is there a cause behind this universe, or is everything random? Some scientists say that everything is happening randomly, but is it really the case? Why there are so many religions? And is Hinduism monotheistic or polytheistic? Is someone, your kids or anyone going to school and they say, I'm a Hindu? Of course, Sanatana Dharma is now called as Hinduism, but Hinduism really doesn't do justice to the word Sanatana Dharma. Anyway, so if someone says, I'm a Hindu, um, the general understanding is it's polytheistic, means you have so many gods, but that itself breaks the backbone there. If you have so many gods, how is it even possible? Then you are saying everybody is powerful, but monotheistic religion says there is one God who is the controller of everything, which is uh, that means that the other religious people will think that these guys are not even having a proper understanding. Is heaven and hell real? And there are some things that also will come in contention. Some say, is God has a form or is he formless? And we discussed already some of these on a high level in the previous chapters anyway. And some questions will come up, is God male or female? You see a lot of goddesses and gods being worshipped. Is God male or female? And what is the ultimate goal of life? These also, there will be some um, differences even in within Sanatana Dharma, because there are so many schools of philosophy. Even those many of those agree on the top points, some may disagree on what is the ultimate goal of life. Some say it is love of God, which is what we say. Some say it is just like the Buddhism says that nirvana means no activity, like you dissolve your karma completely. Some say it is becoming completely knowledge. It's all about becoming full of knowledge. So anyway, why I'm putting all these questions is these next 6 chapters are going to help us understand in more detail, where not only we'll be able to answer ourselves, we'll be able to answer what is more about our own religion or the dharma we are following. We can't just keep following and suddenly it gets questioned. Then we feel, if we don't know the answer, we feel like, am I doing the right thing? That is the question that comes up, right? But if we know exactly the answer to everything that is happening and that is around us, then we'll be able to convince others and we'll be able to make further progress. So that's what Arjuna is going to start asking. Arjuna uvacha
Arjuna uvacha.
prakritim purusham chaiva
प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव
kshetram kshetragnam eva cha
क्षेत्रं क्षेत्रज्ञम् एव च
etad veditum ichchami
एतद्
वेदितुम् इच्छामि
gnanam gneyam cha keshava.
ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं च केशव
Read the translation.
Arjuna said, "O my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field, and the knower of the field, and of knowledge, and the object of knowledge."
So Arjuna is now asking more about the material world itself, that the world that we live in. He is asking 6 questions. What are those? What is this Prakriti, this nature? What is it made up of? Who is the Purusha? Means the enjoyer. We all know we are enjoying in this world, or at least we are trying to enjoy. Who is that Purusha? And what is the field? Means Kshetra. Means the more we'll know what we'll discuss more about that. And who is the knower of the field? And what is knowledge and what is object of knowledge? Means what is the real knowledge is and with the knowledge what is something we should be knowing, Gnayam. And Krishna starts to answer. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Idam Shariram Kaunteya
इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय
Kshetram iti abhidiyate
क्षेत्रम् इति अभिधीयते
Etad yo vetittam prahuhu
एतद्यो
योगिता
वेत्ति त्वं प्राहुः
Kshetragna iti tadvidaha
क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तद्विदः
Kshetragnam chapi mam viddhi
क्षेत्रज्ञं चापि मां विद्धि
Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata
सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत
Kshetra Kshetragnayor Gnanam
क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोर्ज्ञानं
Yattajnanam Matam Mama.
यत्
यत्तज्ज्ञानं मतं मम
Mama.
Can someone read the translation?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field. O scion of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies, and to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion."
Jai, thank you. So what Krishna is answering is he'll going to elaborate more of each of these, but he gave like a few like one-line answers for all of this. He said that this body that we have is the kshetra, is the field. All of our body is the field, and the one who knows the body is called the knower of the field, kshetragna. And in each of the body, how many souls are there? We discussed
Two.
two. So same thing Krishna is saying that I am also a kshetragna. I am the knower of all bodies. Means in each of the body there are two souls. One is the individual soul and one is the super soul. And we'll see the analogy that Krishna is going to give in this chapter, which is I know what is happening in my body. So I'm the kshetragna. You all know what is happening in each of your bodies. You are also kshetragnas. But there is one more kshetragna who is the super soul who is living in all bodies, and he is the knower of all bodies. And to understand this body and to know, and the knower is called knowledge. Knowledge means to understand what is the kshetra and who is the kshetragna and what is the difference between them. That is knowledge. And how to achieve that kshetragna, how to achieve that Supreme Lord. So to understand more about that thing, right? So there is a small pastime. There is a Brahmana called Kanakadas, and he along with his other. So he has a guru, and guru has multiple disciples, and he all asks the disciples to assemble, and the guru gives each of the disciple a banana, and he gives them a challenge. Each of you go and eat the banana so that nobody is going to see you eating the banana. everybody goes and eats their banana in a private place, and but Kanakadasa doesn't come eat it, and he comes back and gives the banana back to his guru. His guru is surprised to see, why you, Kanakadas, why you did not eat the banana? Because there is no place I could find where the God doesn't see me, because he knows that God is within the heart of everyone. He is a Kshetrajna, and he is the ultimate witness. Even in this, in Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that there are 24 kinds of witnesses for every action that happens. Like different those evidences were given, and a person might be able to hide from 23 witnesses, but they will not be able to hide from the super soul sitting within the heart. And it's also called uh, Krishna is called Bhavagrahi Janardana, means he knows what our emotions or intentions are. We might outside appear that I'm a great person, I'm a kind person, but internally we might be having all the bad qualities. Krishna knows. We might be straightforward, we might be harsh to people or rude to people. Of course, it's not recommended, but of course, if there is no kindness, we will not be will not be able. If there is no kindness within our heart, we automatically become harsh and rude. But if someone is very straightforward and they are not worried about what other people are thinking, but internally, if they are very pure, Krishna knows that. And Krishna likes the people who are always pure-hearted. They don't have any negativity towards other people. We have seen, right, in the previous chapters that we read, someone who is very nice to other living entities. How can it be possible? Only if you have full of compassion and empathy and kindness within your heart. We are all siblings of the same Supreme Lord. If you have a father and you have like 10 kids, and if the kids are fighting, the father will not be happy. But if there is one person who is treating all the kids nicely, then the father's love automatically goes there, and the father would like to do more and more. When I say father, it includes father and mother. Mahabhutanyahangkaro
महाभूतान्यहङ्कारो
buddhiravyaktamev cha
बुद्धिरव्यक्तम् एव च
indriyani dashaikam cha pancha.
इन्द्रियाणि दशैकं च पञ्च
Uh, sorry, indriyani dashaikam cha
इन्द्रियाणि दशैकं च
panchendriya gocharaha.
पञ्चेन्द्रियगोचराः
Icha dvesha sukham dukkam
इच्छा द्वेष सुखं दुःखं
sangataschetana dhritihi.
सङ्घातश्चेतना धृतिः
Etat kshetram samasena
एतत् क्षेत्रं समासेन
savikaram udahrutam.
सविकारम् उदाहृतम्
Translation, anyone?
The five great elements: false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, and the mind. The five sense objects: desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms, and convictions. All these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interactions.
So now Krishna is explaining what this material world is made up of. It is made up of 24 elements. Yeah. So those are like the Panchabhutas we know. But besides that, there is also the false ego, intelligence, and mind, the 10 senses, the five sense objects, which is the hands, eyes, those are the senses. But then the touch, what the eyes will see, what the smell, all those things, and the desired hatred. So basically, um, this one, Bhagavad Gita gives a high-level overview, but based on the Vedic scriptures, we understand the Sankhya philosophy. This whole material world is made up of these 24 elements. And besides this, there is nothing in this material world. Everything is covered in this. Gneyam yattat pravakshyami
Kneyam yat
ज्ञेयं यत् प्रक्ष्यामि
yad nattvamrutam ashnute
yat
यज्ञात्वामृतम् अश्नुते
anadimat param brahma
anad
अनादिमत्परं ब्रह्म
nasattan nasaduchyate.
न
न
सत्
सत्तन्न सदुच्यते.
Translation.
I shall now explain the knowledgeable, so knowable and knowing which you will taste the eternal. Brahmin, the spirit, the beginnerless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. This describes the first object of knowledge, that is the soul, living
Yes.
entity.
Thank you. So he is now going to discuss about the object of knowledge, which is the soul or the super soul. So how we can understand the soul within the body? Everyone says that in order to get liberation, look inward, right? So same thing, because the soul is inside the body. If we turn inward and we understand the soul completely, then we'll be able to get out of this material world. Iti kshetram tata jnanam
इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं
gneyam choktam samasataha
ज्ञेयं
इयं चोक्तं समासता
madbhakta yetad vijnana
मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञाय
madbhavayopapadyate.
मद्भावायोपपद्यते.
Can someone read the translation?
Thus, the field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain to my nature.
Jai, thank you. So, like you see, it is the 19th verse, but if you are interested in knowing more about this, because this is an introductory class, if we go into this one, it will take multiple days actually, because Krishna explains more about this knower, knowledge, and everything. But in summary, he's describing about the field of activity is the body. Kshetra means the body, and the knowledge means he gives the understanding of what constitutes the knowledge, and that knowledge will help us know what the gnayam and how to achieve liberation, and those are described. And he's saying in the knowledge he also describes about the ultimate knowledge is bhakti yoga, understanding that bhakti, understanding the relationship between the different kshetragnas and attain the supreme nature. Prakriti and Purusha are beginningless. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva
प्रकृति
प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव
Vidya Anadi Ubhavapi
विद्या
विद्यनादि उभावपि
Vikaramscha Gunamshaiva
विकार
विकारांश्च गुणांश्चैव
Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan.
विद्धि प्रकृतिसम्भवान्.
Translation.
Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformation and the modes of matter are products of material nature. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. So here Krishna is saying that there is no time where the living entity came into existence. This is similar to the chapter 2, right? Chapter 2, he gives us contents of the Gita summarized. He says that, oh, Arjuna, there is no time in where you did not exist, I did not exist, or the kings all here that are in. We have been existing eternally. So same thing here, Krishna is also saying this material world and this living entities have no beginning. They are beginningless. That is a difficult, it's a mind-bending topic to concept to understand. But imagine that there was no time in the past where a creation happened. Means that we have all been here. Think of it like that is the understanding of God, right? If there is a beginning for God, then you will. If someone says this God had a this God came into existence at this point, the question will come up: who created that? But for the concept of God, there is nothing like that. There is God always. There was never a time that God did not exist. And Krishna is saying that similarly, there was never a time that we all did not exist. We have been existing eternally. So imagine that. Again, if I try to explain it, imagine if I say, imagine that everything came into existence together. Then again, that will be paradox because I cannot say everything came into existence. It is existing eternally. So you cannot go back in time for any number of millions or zillions or but to find out that something got created. The God existed always. We existed as his parts and parcels always. But we came into this material world. This material nature also existed always, but God explained, Krishna explained, right, that this goes in cycles: creation, destruction. So if we want to be Lord it separate and enjoy it separately from the Supreme Lord, we get put it in this cycle of creation and destruction repeatedly, where we try to enjoy. But we have to realize that this is not the real enjoyment that we want. कार्याकारण कर्तृत्वे
कार्याकारणकर्तृत्वे
हेतु प्रकृतिरुच्यते
हेतुप्रकृतिरुच्यते
पुरुषः सुख दुःखानां
पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां
भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते.
भोक्तृत्वे हेतुर्उच्यते.
Translation in
Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in this world.
Jai,
In
thank
the
you.
story.
So yeah, so yeah, that is not part of the translation. I just added so we can remember. So nature is the cause of all the things that are happening. We discussed also in chapter 3, right? Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasa ahankaram vimudatma kattaham itmanyat. Means whatever is happening is because of all the three material nature only, material world. It's like a puppet show where all the bodies are moving, or you can think of the carousel where each of the different horses, elephants are all going round and round and round. But it is the living entity that is sitting on the body. So on this body, a living soul is sitting, living entity, a soul is sitting. Similarly, everything that is happening to the body is done by the material world only. And but it is the living entity based on their desires that is causing suffering or enjoyment. Because we are in the same world, and let's say two people are in the company, and both of them want promotion, and there is only one promotion. So it is enjoyment for one if one gets it, and suffering for the other. It is because of our desires. Let's say if both of them did not desire for the promotion and one of them get it, both of them will be happy because their desires are not from they are not seeking the enjoyment from the material desires. If they are always engaged in the worship of the Supreme Lord and they are always happy, whatever is happening in the material world, that doesn't cause any enjoyment or suffering. Correct? But the material world is so strong, which is also Krishna's energy, that it will make us think that I'm enjoying because the Indra story is once Indra disrespects his spiritual master Bruhaspati, and he gets cursed, and due to that curse, he is supposed to take the life of a hog, means pig, for a few years or few lifetimes maybe, and then he falls down from the heavenly planet and takes birth as a hog. And after a few lifetimes are over, Brahma comes himself because Indra is a celebrated personality. Brahma goes and tries to ask, "Hey Indra, your time is over, your curse is over. Now come back to the heavenly planet and rule the kingdom." And what does Indra say? "Oh Brahma, go away. I am very happy with my wife pigs, my children pigs. I'm so happy here. I don't want the heavenly kingdom." So that is what is happening. We think that it is enjoyment, but these are all the pastimes that will help us understand this place is not the real enjoyment. We might think that this is uh, a happy place, but everything is temporary. If something is temporary, it will not give us permanent happiness, and it will be the same place that it will be the same reason for miseries also. उपदृष्टात्मा उपदृष्टानुमन्त च
उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च
भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः
कर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः
परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो
परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो
देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः.
देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः.
Translation in Hindi.
Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord, the Supreme Caprice, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul.
Jai, thank you. So see here, this is also mentioned in the Katha Upanishad. It is mentioned that if our body is like a tree, there are two birds sitting on the tree. One is the individual soul trying to eat all the different fruits of it. Sometimes it is getting pleasure with a sweet fruit. Sometimes it is getting distress or misery with a rotten fruit. But this Upadrashta means the super seer, that soul, the super soul is always witnessing. And this is the same bird that is witnessing all the trees with different living entities in different trees. Um, and uh, and what the super soul is doing, it is based on the desires of this living entity. It is permitting the material world. And this goes back to the three entities we discussed in the previous chapters. What are the three? The super soul, the material nature, and the living entity. The living entity has only one ability, which is to desire, want something. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, a desire. The living entity really cannot do anything about it. But based on how strong the desire is and how whether we deserve it or not, the super soul grants it. And based, if the super soul grants it, the material nature acts. It means the material nature will take our body to the corresponding place, or puts it in, makes us do a corresponding work that will make us uh, get the things that we want. So we have the only thing we have real control is the desire. So basically, all what we have to do is, even though we might not be able to take up Krishna consciousness fully right away, that desire should be there. Means like we have to sincerely, after this program is over, if we should at least, if our desire is strong, we don't want, and if our desire has been there, like Bahunam Janmanam, means after many lifetimes can come to Krishna consciousness. If we all had done that, we will immediately take up Krishna consciousness because the desire is rekindled. But let's say if that was not there yet, we should all sincerely at least say once a day, or I want to take this Krishna consciousness. I want to take this. If we keep on meditating that, the super soul knows our desire. Or if we just say, I want to get liberated, I want to get liberated, I want to get away from these miseries. And with that strong desire, the super soul will be able to put us, grant that. And once it is granted, the material nature will put us in the different circumstances. And you might all have had this desire to learn about Bhagavad Gita so strongly that you all came to this class, right? So that is also, you can also think in that way. अन्ये त्वयेवम् अजानतः अजानन्तः
अन्ये त्व एवम् अजानन्तः
कृत्वानेभ्य उपासते
श्रुत्वा नेभ्य उपासते
तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव
तेऽपि चात्यन्त्येव
मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः.
मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः.
Translation? Anyway.
Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, began to worship the Supreme Person, appearing about him from the others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend from the path of birth and death.
Jai, thank you. So, whatever I have described, right, so far, how many of you are able to follow? I would say not many. Because I myself, it took, we have to read this chapter 13, 14, 15, 16, these Gnana Yoga chapters multiple times to understand these concepts. But Krishna gave a saying that you don't have to worry about if you did not understand these concepts of Gnana. Why? Because if we just approach a person and hear about him from others, Because of our tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the birth and death. So even if we don't understand these concepts about jnana too much, only some people, like if they have so much desire to understand this jnana and super soul blesses them, that's fine. But if our desire is to get out of this repeated birth and death, all we have to do is Shravanam Kirtanam, right? Vishnu Smaranam means just hear about the glories. Just sit, even if we just listen to the pastimes of the Supreme Lord from learned authorities. Kapila was an incarnation of the Supreme Lord himself. And then his mom Devahuti, she just heard about the glories of the Supreme Lord from Kapila, and she also got liberated. Similarly, if we approach a spiritual master, and if we all we have to do is we don't even maybe have to understand this jnana in detail, but if we just are attracted to hearing about Krishna and his pastimes, that will also give us liberation. If you see a lot of our ancestors, they don't have great knowledge, but they are very much attracted to hearing about the Supreme Lord, and we can see how peaceful they were towards end of life, and we can for sure know that they were taken care by the Supreme Lord. And that is what is important. We have to just have faith in the Supreme Lord and able to listen to them. And there is a pastime where Narada travels all over the universe, right? So one day he was traveling through a village. He comes across a Brahmana taking a bath early morning and coming out of the river. And the Brahmana says, Namaste, Narada ji. Um, I'm very blessed to see you. Can you keep traveling all over the universe and different universes, and you also go to Vaikuntha, those planets. I have been worshipping the Supreme Lord very nicely for many years. I just want to make sure that I'm getting liberated. Can you ask when you meet Narayana, can you go ask him and confirm that I'm indeed getting liberated, and let me know. Narada ji also is very impressed with the austerity and the things that the Brahmana is doing, the knowledge he has in terms of everything, understanding. And he says, "Yeah, for sure, yes, I'm going to, whenever I go to Vaikuntha planet, I'm going to ask Narayana when that he will be getting liberated, and I will come back and let you know." And he walks along the path, and then he comes across a cobbler. He's stitching the shoes, and he also offers respects to Narada ji, and he says, "Oh Narada, like you all travel all over the universe. Can you also ask the Supreme Lord to see if I will be delivered at all from this samsara, means cycle of life and death?" And Narada ji says, "Yes, I'm going to do that." And then Narada then goes to Vaikuntha, and then he meets Narayana there. And he asks that, "Oh, Narayana, I went to this village. There is this Brahmana who asked that he wants to confirm that he's going to get Vaikuntha Prapti after this lifetime. And also this cobbler, also the same." Then Narayana tells Narada, "Tell the Brahmin that he will return home only after 100 lifetimes, while the cobbler can be told that he will see me at the end of this present life itself." Narada is perplexed within his mind. He says, "How is it possible? This Brahmana has a lot of knowledge. He does a lot of austerities. He has been doing sincerely worship. And why is Narayana saying that he has to take 100 more lifetimes? But on the other hand, this cobbler uh, is only going to get back to Vaikuntha only within one lifetime." And Narayana, knowing everything that everybody thinks, like the super soul we discussed, right? He tells Narada, when you go and meet them, tell them when they ask what I am doing, tell them that I am trying to pass. I'm trying to thread a needle with an elephant. Means I'm trying to pass the elephant through the tip of a needle, the hole of a needle. Then Narada says he doesn't understand. He's perplexed. Why is Narayana asking me to do that? Then he goes to the village and he comes across the same Brahmana, and Brahmana asks him, "Hey Narada ji, Namaste Narada ji, um, did you talk to Narayana?" And Narada ji says, "Yes, I spoke to Narayana, but unfortunately he said that you need another 100 lifetimes to go back to Vaikuntha." Then the Brahmana was like, "Oh, no, I don't believe it. You're telling you're not, I don't think you really met Narayana." you are making up this stuff, because I for sure know that I will be able to get back. I have doing showing service. I'll, I don't think I'll need 100 lifetimes. Okay, then if you are not telling the lies, tell me what is Narayana, what was Narayana doing when you went there? Then Narada says he was trying to thread a needle with an elephant, means trying to pass an elephant through the tip of the hole of a needle. Then Brahmana says, okay, now it is confirmed that you are making up all this stuff. I'm not going to believe you. You can go from here. You don't have to tell these things that I will take 100 lifetimes and I'm not going to believe. Because how will a elephant fit in the tip of a needle? It's not possible. Then Narada goes to the cobbler and the cobbler says, oh, Narada ji, how are you? Um, what is the Lord doing? And Narada says, the Lord said that you will be going back to Vaikuntha within this lifetime itself. And also he told, and the Lord was trying to thread the elephant within the through a needle. And the cobbler smiles to himself, happily laughs, and then he thinks, "Oh, nice," like that. And Narada was actually surprised. What do you don't you think that it's impossible? Like that, how can an elephant pass through the tip of a needle? Then the cobbler laughs and says, "You see the tree over there, the banyan tree? It's a huge tree. Where does it come from? When a tiny seed. If such a big tree is coming from a small thing, everything is possible for the Supreme Lord. He can fit in elephant through the needle. So what we understand from that is nothing is impossible for the Supreme Lord, and we have to have faith in the Supreme Lord. If we have faith, that if you recollect all the chapters we have been discussing, right? Everything is coming back to faith only. We cannot have blind faith at the same time. We cannot start any process without having faith. We have to have that initial faith that this process, what I'm going to follow, is going to deliver me or bring me closer to the Supreme Lord. And in that faith, if we approach a spiritual master or approach the Supreme Lord through Bhagavad Gita and read that and understand it in the guidance of the spiritual master, then we will be able to, our faith will get convinced and we'll be able to achieve the Supreme Lord. So we'll close this with the last verse. Kshetra kshetragnayorevam
क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञयोर एवं
antaram gnana chakshusha
अंतरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा
bhuta prakriti moksham cha
भूतप्रकृतिमोक्षं च
ye viduryanti te param.
ये विदुर्यान्ति ते परम्.
A translation, anyone?
Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attain to the supreme goal.
So Krishna is concluding this chapter saying that those who see with the knowledge the difference between the body and the knower, means we should understand that we are not the body, and then we can also understand the process of liberation, which is the knowledge that was described, the bhakti yoga process. Then we'll be able to achieve the supreme goal. And yeah, in summary, the questions that Arjuna put forward to Krishna is the 6 questions. What is Prakriti, the material nature? Who is Purusha, the enjoyer? Kshetram, field. Kshetrajna, knower of the field. Jnanam, knowledge, and name, object of knowledge. And Krishna answers that the Prakriti, he gives us the list of the 24 elements that make up the material world. Who is the enjoyer? Kshetra means body, and in Kshetrajna there are 2 knowers of the body. One is the individual soul and one is the soul. And the Gnana means understanding the difference between these two. And object of knowledge is to understand these two and get liberated from this material world. And we all know what is the process of approaching the Supreme Lord, right? Which is chanting. And we'll read one more verse that signifies the importance of the chanting of the holy name. Jaya Vachyam Vachakam iti
जयावच्यं वचकम् इति
Udeti Bhavato Namaswarupadvayam
उदेति भवतो नमस्वरूपद्वयम्
Namaswarupadvayam
नामस्वरूपद्वयम्
Urvasmat Param Eva
पूर्वस्मात् परम् एव
Hanta Karunam Tatrapi Janimahe.
अन्तःकरुणं तत्रापि जनीमहे.
Yastasmin Vihita Parada
Yastasmin vihita paratha
Nivaha Prani Samanta Bhavet
nivaha prani samantad bhavet.
Asyenedam Upasyopi
Asyenedam upasyasopi
He Sadananadam Budau Majjati.
hi sadanandam budau majjati.
Machati.
Krishna Namastakam, verse 6. Anyone wants to read the translation?
O holy name, you are manifested in two forms. One, the Supreme Person described by the holy name, and two, the sound vibration of the holy name. We know that the second form is even more merciful than the first, because although a person may commit many offenses to your first form, he will still plunge into an ocean of bliss by serving your second with his voice.
Jai, thank you, Mother. So we understand we can approach the Supreme Lord in through His holy name or through His actual form. But what advantage or the benefit of or the great thing about the holy name is it's more merciful, because even if we may have committed any offenses to the Supreme Lord in His first form, which is the form, but if we take His holy name, we will be able to get delivered from this ocean of birth and death. Um, So any questions? I see Gopikant Prabhuji also joined. Prabhu, you want to add any points?
No, you're doing good. Just I want to say hi to everyone. How is things going on? So, yeah, you conclude. At the end, I'll talk to 5 minutes.
Yeah, it is concluded. Any questions from anyone? Okay, Prabhuji, you can go ahead.
Okay, so very wonderful. You all very interestingly joining these classes. Can someone share some realizations how these classes are useful for you? How these classes are getting benefited to you? Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yes.
Krishna, Prabhuji. I can go ahead.
Yeah.
So, Prabhuji, for some time now, I wanted to kickstart reading the Bhagavad Gita. I brought it from the ISKCON temple, right? We have two at home, both in English and Telugu. But we never could start it, right? Because the challenge was to read, right? Obviously, we cannot put, one way we thought of is putting YouTube videos and doing it, but after attending the classes, now I understand that reading by myself would be just a starting point or something. But like it said in the Gita, and like Paditpavandas Prabhuji is actually explaining, right? Getting it from a guru or a known person is much more valuable and meaningful, because reading, we might not even get the gist of what is being said, right? But getting it from a known person or other guru is actually much better, right? So that's my takeaway, Prabhuji.
Wonderful. Very nice. Lord himself, he told that. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshate jnanam jnanena tattvadarshinaha. If you read ourselves, we may speculate. We will not understand what is exact meaning. But if you go who the self-realized soul, then he will explain, because he already realized what is the meaning and he already learned in the parampara. So we can understand in a correct way. Wonderful, Prabhuji. Very nice. Anybody else? Archisha, anybody else want to share how these classes are helpful to you? Are these helpful to you or not? First thing.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, it is really helpful, Prabhuji. Firstly, I'm able to, from my end, like I'm able to devote some time, okay, to listen about Lord Krishna. These classes are holding me back from all of this stuff, and I'm able to sit and listen to all these lectures. Okay, that is first thing. And next thing is it is helping me to understand the high level about the most of these slokas. As other Prabhuji said, even if sometimes if we listen through videos or by other books, we may not understand the intent of the actual sloka. As you rightly said, we may speculate it. But here, in a short time, the Prabhuji is able to cover the high level insights about the most of the slokas.
Wonderful. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so I have just started reading Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, and now that attending these classes have made the chapters more interesting, and trying to get the clearer, like a better understanding of the slokas.
Very wonderful.
And also I visited Ved Mandir and met you last time. And
Wonderful.
this Sunday I went to Ishkon temple as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, coming Sunday we have Ved Mandir program again. So whoever is in New Jersey, we are welcoming to you. On 8th December, we will have essence of Bhagavad Gita. Whole Bhagavad Gita will be summarized in 1 hour. And then 15th of December, we are celebrating Gita Yajna. We can all recite whole Bhagavad Gita 700 slokas, and you also can participate in Yajna also. So you can participate Yajna also. You can perform Yajna also. So I encourage all of you to come these two classes. Coming Sunday, 10:30 a.m. at Ved Mandir, Essence of Gita class, special class for all the participants who are participating in these classes, that is meant for them. And 15th, December 15th, 10:30 a.m. onwards, we'll have a Gita Yajna. So I encourage all of you to come and take complete benefit out of that. So let us know if anything else that we can serve you, and we will host many other classes. We will communicate you. So please be part of it. So just this is the beginning. You are understanding a gist of each chapter, but each sloka can be taken more than 1 hour. So in 1 hour, just we are giving a high level. So I encourage all of you to attend the detailed version classes also, so that you will get benefited. And as a Hindu, as a Sanatana Dharma practitioner, as an Indian, we should know about Bhagavad Gita. We should read Bhagavad Gita completely. We need to read and we need to understand. If anybody asks, we should be able to explain our Sanatana Dharma basis on the scriptures. So this will be very helpful. I encourage all of you to join all these classes and get familiarized Bhagavad Gita. Okay? Any questions? Even after the class, we are available to serve you. Even Patitapan Prabhu, if there are any questions, you can ask him, or you can message me. I also there in this group. My name is Gopikanta Krishnadas. So anytime, any questions, any thing that you want, we are here to serve you. Okay. So thank you very much for all of you joining, and Patita Pavan Prabhu.
Someone was saying that can you help us with the address of the event?
Yeah, we will post that address. Can you post that flyer today evening?
Yes, I will post it.
Yeah, so we'll post the flyer in the group. It will have all the details. Yeah, so let's thank Patita Pavan Prabhu. He's putting a lot of efforts for all of you to make you understand this Bhagavad Gita in a baby steps. So let's chant 3 times Hari Bol to Patita Pavan Prabhu for his efforts. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
And I want to thank Gopikanta Prabhu for the opportunity, because initially I was like you all sitting on the other side, and he was he was the one who explained everything and invoked the interest within us, so to take more and more. So I want all of you also to learn Bhagavad Gita and start preaching, like taking classes for more and more people.
Yeah, we want more people, more preachers we want. People in the whole world, nobody knows Bhagavad Gita. So we all need to learn and teach to others. Wonderful. Thank you very much for all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We'll say Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times and we'll close the session. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. भगवान श्री कृष्ण परमात्मा की जय, भगवत गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. All glories to Krishna. Hare Krishna. All glories to Vaishnava.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you everyone. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.